Hello student, welcome to my channel LP EduTech. If you are new to my channel, please like, share and subscribe. Today we are going to start with the ninth number lesson of Geography Standard 10 entitled as Tourism, Transport and Communication System in India and Brazil. So stay tuned and stay together. Now friends, if you are learning about the Brazil, we must know the tourism places in the Brazil. We must be familiar with the tourism spot of the Brazil. We must know the transportation system and communication system of Brazil. As we are very well familiar with the India, we know its geographical boundaries, its history, cultural heritage. But Brazil is new to us, so we need to study the both from the various point of view, so that we can create interest in the lesson and we can learn the something more and interesting fact regarding Brazil. So, what factors or characteristics of the Brazil makes it good tourist place? What type of tourism will be developed here? We will discuss it now. So here in the lesson, first we have the graph of the number of international tourists visit India and Brazil. So we need to observe this graph and we need to give the answers. The graph is very always interesting to study. It gives us very detailed idea. It is one of the method of studies. Figure 9.1 here. Now which country attracted more international tourists in the year 1995? Now here we have the index. The blue color line shows the Brazil number of international tourists and red color lines belongs to India, which shows the number of international tourists visited during the respective years. It starts from 1995, 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2016 is the last one. So here answer of number one question is the both countries, we can say the majorly India and even the Brazil can be applied here. Which country attracted more international tourists in the year 1995? In which country did more international tourists arrive in the year 2000? By the graph, it indicates it's Brazil. In which year can an increase be seen in the number of international tourists in India? So it is 2010. What was the number of international tourists in the year 2015 in both the countries? For the Brazil, it seems 60, and for India, it is 130. 130 lakhs. So gap is 70%. So 70 is the gap between these both figure. What could be the reason of increase in the tourists in India after the year 2010? Now Indian Railway has supported very well with the coordination of Indian Ministry and IRCTC. The railways have started especially giving the excellent amenities for the foreign tourists and even the tourists from India, taking the major passenger to the major and the best route or the place or the locations where they can visit it. Even the ITDC facility also available. The government provides the lodging boarding facility at cheaper test, and even the development of the places has happened very well. Transport and communication system has been developed. So these are the reason. So we can see the clean white sand beaches, attractive sea coast, beautiful islands, orchards, deep dense forest of Amazon, various birds and animals attracts lots of international tourists here. Here we can see the view of deep dense forest of Amazon. It's really marvelous. It's one of the wonders of the world. You can say it. Various animals and birds in Brazil. smart city of Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil, attracts many international tourists. It's the Brasilia in the lap of nature. The marvelous city like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo are the large cities which attracts lots of tourists. This is Brazil. Even ecotourism in Brazil is developing at a faster rate. It's ecotourism giving new boost to the economy without hampering nature, wonder in nature, without disturbing the birds, animals, without throwing litters in the nature or the place which we have visited, keeping it clean, not to make it spoily, not to spoil it, not to make it dirty. Maintain the naturalness of that particular place is called as ecotourism. Now here again we have a one graph. Answer the questions after reading the figure 9.2. This is 9.2 figure. It shows particularly. Now let us see by giving the answer to the question. What type of graph is shown? So this is simply a bar graph. What does the graph show? The graph shows the percentage of population engaged in tourism with the blue color, and red color shows the contribution of tourism in GDP. Which country tourism has a larger share in the contribution towards the GDP? It is obvious by looking at the map we understand it's of Brazil. And which country has a larger population engaged in tourism sector but contributes lesser in GDP? So it's in India. Now let us look for the geographical explanation. The number of international tourists visiting India in 2015 is more than that of Brazil. Even though this is true, the share of tourism sector in the GDP is less than that of Brazil. Even though we have a good number of foreign tourists visiting India, but the share of tourism sector to the economy is very less compared to the Brazil. Even apart from this, the proportion of Indian population engaged in tourism proportion is higher than Brazil. That means more of the percentage of people that they are engaged in the tourism sector compared to the Brazil, it's high. But this is primarily dependent on the size of the population of those countries and the size of GDP. But what the main thing affect? The size of country and the size of the GDP. Population of India is more than Brazil, and so is its GDP. But as the GDP of India is higher than Brazil, and so also its population, GDP also higher but population also higher, therefore the contribution of the tourism to GDP appears lesser than Brazil, and population engagement seems higher. So income gets divided into many people. Now it is in previous figure that the number of international tourists in India is constantly growing, but this increase appears to be more after 2010. This increase in the number of international tourists is consistent. Foreign tourists visit India for heritage, adventure, cultural, health, and business tourism. Ecotourism is also being given boost in India. Many foreign tourists visit India to discover India from the various point of view. Now this is the slogan of Indian Tourism Department, that is Incredible India, Atulya Bharat. and truly it's incredible. Even ecotourism in India is also becoming boost today, giving me a very good response. That is without hampering nature, wildlife, vegetations. The tourism which is done is called as ecotourism. Even we are not even expected to throw the litter into the company of nature, making it clean and safe for the birds and animals to live. Without doing any type of pollution, this tourism is done. Considering the heritage of India, there are plenty of opportunities for tourism in many parts of the country. Many places are being developed for this. We have high rich and cultural heritage. See Ajanta Caves, Monument of Hampi, Humayun Tomb, Sun Temple of Konark, Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, Fatehpur Sikri, Khajuraho, Buddhist Monument, Mahalakshmi Temple, Bihar, Agra Fort, Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, and even Nalanda University of ancient time. There are many more. There are many World Heritage Culture website sites in India which are recommended by the UNESCO. So we have here Brazil transport system. Let us turn. Here we have been introduced with the map of Brazil major transport routes. Now based on this we have few questions to ask. Let us answer this question. Now which means of transport are seen on the map? This is the first question. So just by looking at the index we can give an answer. It's a major roads, other roads, railways, airports, waterways, roadways and airways. These are the three main means of transport are available. Now second question, which means of transport has the denser network? Now which one seen is denser? By the map itself we can understand the roadways has got developed. See it sees the very denser network in the map itself. Which highway can be seen prominently? So this is the one highway which starts from this north part. So this is west part, Cruzeiro do Sul. Right from here it starts. Again it reaches to Manaus. It moves ahead. It's called as the Trans-Amazon Highway and it reaches to the Brasilia, which is the capital of this Brazil. What could be the reason of development of railways in the southeast? Now this is the southeast part. Why it is concentrated on the southeast? The reasons are that it has a very plain topography. Here we can find the major concentration of the population due to the various industries. So here there is more chances for the development. So here in this way this transport communication is developed. The southeast part. Next, in which part of Brazil do you see at least a development of transport network, and what could be the reasons? Now you can see you will be able to identify clearly as there is existence of Amazon River Basin area, the northern part. We can say the north part of Brazil, which has the existence of Amazon River Basin, is unable to develop as it is physical limitations are there. Right, it has the Amazon River Basin, so therefore it is not able to be developed. Let's go for the explanation of geographical explanation. The most common method of transportation is roadways. Roadways account for more than half of the transportation system in the country. Now it is very clearly visible by this. By the density of road, the network is concentrated in the eastern part of the country. So here we need to identify this and we need to underline even this. It is the eastern part of the country it has. Eastern part. So this is called as the eastern part, we can see. Density of road network is concentrated in the eastern part of the country. The forested lands of Amazon River Basin and the swampy lands have limited the development of roadways in this part. Right. Even the waterways have been developed on the commercial basis on Amazon River. Waterways are also being carried out. Even boats ply from the Iquitos in Peru to the mouth of river The longest waterways in the world can be navigated through these waterways. It's around 3,700 kilometers. Even another river important for the waterway is the south flowing Parana River. Where it moves, it is the south flowing river Parana. Now, coastal shipping is also carried out in the coastal areas. Now, railways have not developed very well in Brazil. The use of trains for the long distance and transportation of passenger is restricted to the few urban tourist routes, though it is a cheaper. But the contribution of railways is less in the transportation system of country. This is what we can understand by this map and the study. So here we have the Amazon River Basin area and this route of Amazon where the shipping water navigation can be done. This is south flowing river Paraguay and even the Parana, which is mostly used for the water transportation. So this is the water navigation. In this way it is getting done in Brazil. Now this is the Brazil railway route network, mainly concentrated to the south and southeast part. You see the routes of the train. So this is Brazilian railway. Now let us continue. We have the India transport map here in the textbook, page number 64. So look at this transport maps of India, figure 9.10 and 9.11, and answer the following questions. Now, which means of transport are visible on the map? So this is the map of India, and here it is we are able to see it very much clearly. There are the three mode or means of transports are available, that is waterways, roadways, airways, airways, and even railways. So four means of available. Four means of transportations are available here. You can see here. Anyone? Next question now, on which part of India is the density of railway is more? Now it is, you are able to see it is northern part of India, especially here it gets concentrated, right? So it is a northern plain part of India, it is getting concentrated. Now name the 5 important ports and airports of the India. It's quite normal, it is thing. It is already shown here. Important ports and airports. Now 5 important ports, that is Mumbai, Cochin. Here we have Mumbai, Cochin. Here like Chennai, Kolkata, Visakhapatnam. So these are the example. And 5 important airports, same Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, Bengaluru and Thiruvananthapuram. So these are the things which are available here. Again, now 5 important airports are Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, Bengaluru, then Thiruvananthapuram. Which part of India have a sparse network of transport? What could be the reasons? Now we can see the northern part, mostly this part. We are not able to see the network of transportation which is developed, and even this part, northeast part, these are the physically challenged area. So building a network in under such a physical condition is not possible. It has some limitations, so therefore these parts remain aloof. Still, it is not very much developed. The development is going on, but it is very sparse one, we can say. Now here we have the important railway routes and airports that is also shown. By the help of this maps, it is very much clear to understand. We just need to observe the places and the locations and the things which are shown. We will be able to answer this. This is quite easier part. Map skill is always an interesting part. Now, as compared to Brazil, India has a very dense network of transport. That is quite obvious by this map. About 85% of the passenger and 70% of the freight traffic are carried by roads every year. So these details are really important details, and we need to underline this one. 85% of the passenger and 70% of the freight traffic are carried by the roads. The freight and passenger transport has been facilitated due to the development of railways. Railways are important for the growth of the Indian economy. This is what we can say the railway system in India, which is the largest system in India. It provides the largest number of employment, more than 13 lakhs. So it is the largest public business in Asia continent, which gives the maximum employment to the people. Now, railway network is relatively less dense in the hill states, northeastern states, central parts of India, and Rajasthan, while it is dense in the North Indian plains. So this is the North Indian plains part. It is a dense one, and it is here we have the desert area, right? This northeastern states and even these hilly areas, physically challenged area, and the central part of the Maharashtra, central part of India. Here also it is not that much developed as I expected. So railways are important for the vast country where the distances are large. Waterways are only cheap means of transportation. The waterways contributing about 1% to the country's transportation. How much? It's only 1% it's carrying, given the contribution for the transportation. Comprises river, canal, backwaters, creeks, etc. This is another image which can signifies the Indian railway network, how much it is spread. See the North Indian plain side, it is developed one. To the hill state, we can find the limitations. Again, it is interesting to know that there are 18 railway zones in India, in which their administration work is divided. This is a newly train which is recently introduced. It is called as a Vande Bharat, the fastest one. See, this is the as we have the roadways, we have the waterways in India as well. See, these are the 6-meter waterways in India. Number 1 is Ganga Haldia to Allahabad, 1620 kilometers. You can see. Then second we have this Brahmaputra river, 891 kilometer. 800 Brahmaputra to Dhubria to Sadia. Then number 3 we have here the West Coastal Canal below in the south part. West Coast Canal, Kollam to Kottapuram. It is 205 kilometer. Number 3. Number 4 we have this Godavari, Krishna and canals. Kakinada to Puducherry, 1078 kilometers. And number 5, that is Brahmani Delta canals. Goenkhali to Tilchar, 588 kilometers. States are Odisha, West Bengal. So this is the best map. Everything is explained. You just need to study. You can take a screenshot. This is the ocean trade. Approximately 95% of India's foreign trade moves through ocean routes. Foreign trade, it moves through the ocean routes. So these are the ocean routes which are shown here. You have the Indonesia, Myanmar, there's Sri Lanka. Then it reaches to the Europe continent, Arabian Africa continent. This is the route. Apart from international trade, these are also used for the purpose of transportation between the islands and the rest of the country. As compared to Brazil, airways in India are more developed and the use of internal airways is also increasing. This again make it clear. Now we have already learned that Brazil has the vast longitudinal extent. Here in figure we can find the easternmost and the westernmost points of Brazil mainland in figure 9.12. Now based on this figure we have few questions to answer. Let us say this. Now how many divisions can you see in the map? Now the it is very obvious that you can able to see the 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are four divisions. Now what do the division signifies? These divisions signifies the time zones of Brazil. What is the term behind the GMT means? GMT, it is Greenwich Mean Time. Right? Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, is a time set with reference to a 0-degree longitude that passes through the Greenwich. The countries lying to the west of 0-degree longitude have time behind the GMT. And as we know that Brazil lies to the west of the GMT, so they have the time behind this GMT. Which part of Brazil is ahead of the other? Of course, the easternmost part is ahead than the other part. By how many minutes is this part ahead of the other? It is 60 to 180 minutes this part is ahead. What does the red line in the map shows? The red line in the map shows the GMT minus 3 time zone, which is the official Brazilian time, that is BRT. This is what this red line indicates. Now here we can find that because of vast longitudinal extent of the country, the difference between the two extreme points is around 168 minutes. That is 2 hours and 48 minutes. We need to keep in mind this. It is the difference between two is 2 hours and 48 minutes. There are different time zones in the country. Now, Brazil has 4 time zones. It is behind GMT by 2, 3, 4 or 5 hours. The red line in the map shows the GMT 3 time zones, which is considered to be the official Brazilian time, that is BRT, that is 3 hours behind the GMT. So this image will clarify the parts. Number 1, which come to the easternmost, is 2 hours, then it comes 3 hours behind, then 4 hours behind, 5 hours behind. In this way it is getting added now, as it is divided into the standard meridian of 15 degree. To the east we have, if suppose the time is 2 o'clock, then to the central we have the 3 o'clock. To the northern part that we have this 4 p.m. and to the westernmost part we have the 5 p.m. In this way the time gets changed, 1 hour getting extended. Now next point, development of communication in Brazil. Now telecommunication services in Brazil are very well developed and efficient. Thus the industry includes landline as well as the mobile services, television broadcasting, radio broadcasting and computer, internet access, etc. Today more than 45% of the Brazilian population has access to the internet. How many it is? More than 45%. The telecommunications infrastructure is fairly modern, particularly in the central south Brazil. However, the north and the northwest are drastically less developed. The north part and the northwest part remain drastically less developed. Now, over recent years, the mobile telephones have led the rapid expansion of telecommunication services in Brazil. The nature of Brazilian territory, especially the land mass size and the large pockets of unpopulated and densely vegetated areas, create the significant impediments, that is, obstacles to the expansion and coverage of the telecommunication system. Brazil developing technology to send the domestically made satellites into space with its own rockets. Now India too has a large longitudinal extent. The difference between the two extreme-most points is 2 hours or 120 minutes. India has only one standard time zone. The 82.5 degree east longitude is the Indian Standard Time, that is IST. This is the second one which is mentioned here, IST, which get passed. The dot line is given, that is called as the IST. It passes through the Allahabad. through Allahabad, UP. Now it is ahead by 5 hours 30 minutes from Greenwich Meridian time. So India's time is ahead than 5 hours and 30 minutes from the Greenwich Meridian time, that is prime meridian. With the explosion of electronic media, telecom industry has become one of the fast growing sectors. In this era of information and communications have digitally enhanced the communication devices like mobile phones, internet, satellites. They are paving way to the expansion for the wider reach of communication technology. And then now, what is the difference between these two longitudinal extreme of mainland in India? That it is less than 29 degree, less than Brazil. It's 29, so less than Brazil it is. Which longitude in India is called the Indian Standard Time? It is 82 degree 30 minutes east is the Indian Standard Time. And India has only one time zone now. So the devices like mobile phones, internet and satellites, they are paving way to the expansion of the wider reach of communication technology in India. India is one of the largest users of the smartphones and internet. With development of our own satellites, India has come to a long way in this field. Now, in this manner, our lesson is over now. If you really like my explanation, please like, share, and subscribe it. Thanks for watching.